Welcome to Whiskey Nightcaps, the channel where we do sip before sleep, and I am your host, Jason Davis. And what are we talking about today? We're talking about James E. Pepper Barrel Proof Straight Rye Whiskey. You get a whiskey, you get a whiskey, you get a whiskey. That's my best Oprah impression. All right, so my mama said, if you don't have anything nice to say, then don't say anything at all. And that's why I don't really come to you in my content with whiskey that I don't like. I only talk to you about the things that bring me joy, and this is no exception. Now, in full disclosure, I am not a rye guy. Like, I'm not somebody who swears on the rye. I have a toxic love-hate relationship with rye. Either I really don't like it or I really love it and that's all I want to drink from time to time. Now, what are we talking about here? We're talking about James E. Pepper 1776, and this is the barrel proof rye. I've never tried a barrel proof rye before, so I was like, I'm gonna give it a shot, and I was pleasantly surprised. This 1776 comes from the Pepper family. Now, the story is that they've been making whiskey since 1780 during the American Revolution, and they're the first whiskey brand in Kentucky. Now, right now, it's distilled in Indiana and bottled in Kentucky. Now, is that gonna stop us from enjoying some delectable whiskey? No, because if you go in your cabinet right now, or your bar, or your liquor shelf, half of the American whiskeys that you have, especially if it's rye, on the back of that label, I don't care what it says on the front, it could say Kentucky Pride, whatever. On the back of that label, it's gonna say distilled in Indiana. And so obviously, those people know what they're doing. Now, this is 58.45 ABV, which I believe translates to around 116 proof. So it ain't no punk, okay? Don't come at it like it's soft. You might learn your lesson. Retails around about 42 bucks. That's how much I got it for, which is how I like my sourced whiskey. And it's even better when it's good quality whiskey under 50 bucks. You cannot beat that. Now, as always, in the house, I'm keeping a dram of this, not on ice because that's not what we do, but if that's what you do, it's fine. But we're keeping this warmed up. I'm gonna go get it, and we're gonna get into this thing, man, so you can find out if this is something that you want to make a purchase of. All right, we are back, and I can smell it wafting up. You can't see it, here it is. It was wafting up into the nasal cavity. Now, this is not a neck pour. You won't see me do any uncorkings on my channel, unbottlings, whatever you want to call it, because I find, and this is just my personal experience, that my assessment of a whiskey always changes on the second go round, okay? For you, you may get consistent, scents, consistent flavors on the palate, but for me, I always find that the deeper I go into this bottle, the more my opinion changes on a whiskey. Okay, now, all right, let's see this thing on the nose. Oh, smells like rye, show's over. I was only kidding. I'm getting a floral scent, but not like a flower, like a rose, but more like, you remember those honeysuckle, those little honeysuckle plants you would see growing in grass? It's kind of like that. Over on this nostril, I'm getting orange zest, a little orange zest, which probably comes from some barrel char. Light hint of vanilla. It has a sweet cake kind of quality, but not like the cake has actually been baked, but more like cake batter. Remember when you used to lick the spoon back in the day when your mom was baking cakes? So overall, pleasant smell. Yeah, there's a little ethanol there, but it's alcohol. We've had enough in the nose. What really matters is how it tastes. So let's see. I think my eyes just started watering. That's that 58.5. Now, I still got a little bit of that floral up front, but once it starts to go from mid palate to finish, you know this is a rye, right? That rye spice starts to kick in, but it's not overly powerful. Like if you watch another video I did on the piggyback, I told you I just didn't like that. That was straight rye. All right, so we have to go in a second time. Usually on that first one, you get most of the ethanol because this has been resting at least for about 15 minutes. I kind of forgot about it, to be honest with you. So let's see what happens on the second go round. Marvelous, simply marvelous, darling. Definitely a tingle on the tongue. Nice, warm hug going down. You feel it. You want to feel your whiskey anyway, right? The only thing I would recommend, if I had to, maybe a few drops of water. And I have had this with a few drops of water, so I know it does smooth out some of those rough edges. Doesn't really change the palate that much. You know how people say that the water opens the whiskey up? On this one, it really didn't change how I experienced it. It just smoothed out some of those rough edges, so they could go down a little bit easier. All right, so what's the verdict on this thing? Now, in my book, there's only 3 things that matter when you're purchasing a whiskey, right? The price. Is it value? Does it taste good? And does it make you feel good? Now, if you can hit all 3 of those, that's a winner. And sometimes that doesn't happen. You strike out 1 out of 3 times. But for me, I feel like this is hitting all of those. Like I said, it's only 42 bucks. The taste, awesome. If you like rye, you'll love this. If you don't like rye, give it a shot anyway. And 3, how does it make me feel? I can sit back and just sip this, which is exactly what I'm about to do, and watch Scarface for like the 3rd time this week. All right, man. Whiskey Nightcaps, we are getting out of here, sucker. We're getting out of here. We're gonna go chill and enjoy the rest of the night, but we will be back. I'm gonna try to be back for you guys on Wednesday, on Whiskey Wednesday, Frisky Whiskey Wednesday, so be ready for that. Hit me down in the comments. Let me know if you're a rye fan. Have you ever tried this whiskey, or what's your favorite rye? Let me know. Let the community know, and we can have a conversation together. All right, man. I'll see you guys in the next go round. Peace. That Rebanga hit, what was that for you?